If you're new here, we talk about ordinary. We try to explain the ancestral perception. We try to basically bring them to light and make sure that people understand what the Igbo ancestors meant, because they encoded virtually everything. So for you to basically understand what they're talking about, is either you participate, you observe, or you ask the right question. That's why some knowledge are left for the dibia, while the ofeke, who is the non or the uninitiate, is not really brought into the whole metaphysical thing that is being practiced within our system. So when the white men came, they did not understand anything about our spiritual practices. That's why they came about trying to tell us that we were devil or idol worshippers, whereas it has never been what our ancestors practiced or worshipped. So for you to basically understand what your ancestors practiced, you need to understand it from your own perspective. Now, you could say, oh yeah, but people use those knowledge or power for malignant purposes. This is because our cosmology believes that if there is good, there is bad. If there is bad, there is good. None can defeat each other. And it's not something you can fight. But what now happens there is that you, as the individual, you are at the center. So if you decide to move towards the dark aspect, then whatever you see, you will take. This is why we have this aphorism, Omemma na-emelo onwe ya, Omenjo na-emelo onwe ya. Basically, you reap what you sow. If you sow good, you reap good. If you sow bad, you reap bad. We don't have this system that is trying to keep you from basically doing what you want to do. It is your decision. You are that catalyst that determines if you're going to tune into a negative force or tune into a positive force. It all falls on you, the individual. So if people basically use the knowledge they know to be malignant, know that for every 1 out of 3 persons that has knowledge of ordinary, one person uses what he knows to fight people, there are at least 4 of them who uses what they know to save. That's why our ancestors says, Dibia na wawo ne ebu. A dibia that can give you herbs to cure you or heal you can as well give you something that is going to kill you. So without saying much, I want to explain what our ancestors understood by rituals. Rituals, Ogugo Mmuo. Now, rituals, Ogugo Mmuo, are techniques or processes of moving the universe at an unseen state or at an unseen level. It is also perceived as the language of the soul or the language of the universe. Igo Mmuo, Elon Mmuo. It is also seen as a bridge to the universe. So whenever, every morning, an Igbo man is expected to sit down in his obi, bring his items of affirmations, Iru Agwu Ofo, or Otu Mmuo. Now, it's not a situation of I will do it today and I will not do it tomorrow. It's a ritualized process. Every morning he brings those items and he's using his words to speak life. He's using his mouth to affirm, this is what I want to manifest in my life. This is what I want. And he's tendering those things into the universe. So it's a ritualized process. And when he's doing that, he is speaking into the universe. Now, this kind of ritual is something you do on a personal level. There are ones you do at the communal level. That's maybe you performing some kind of sacrifice with a deity or performing some kind of rituals in a communal, maybe ajani, that belongs to your entire community. At each level that you interact with Igbo ancestral forces, you are communicating with the universe. You're moving the universe. And when we offer sacrifices, we are doing the same thing. This is why they will tell you, the more you sacrifice, then you know that it is the ancestors, the spirit that are now owing you, and the judgment will now be on them. So as Igbo people, we also believe that as human beings, we cannot manufacture high-level creativity without being linked to the universe. Now, high-level kind of creativity, I'm making reference to Agwu, or making, manufacturing some kind of stuff. Now, understand that any aspect of advancement or technology is rooted in nature. It could not be the same of how we express it, but some of these things were modeled through nature. Now, we're talking about cryogenics. There is an aspect of nature that the elements of nature that they are trying to reconstitute to be able to basically achieve this cryogenics technology. Let's talk about the airplanes. Their tail. Which animal is it emulating? Now, if we now bring it down to medicine, we'll know that any kind of medicine, any kind of human medicine is rooted in roots and herbs before it was now chemicalized in labs by big pharma. So this is where ancestors will tell you that as human beings, we cannot manufacture high-level creativity or technology without being linked to the universe, without being linked to nature, because everything begins and ends at the universe. And how do we do those? We do those things when we move the universe into telling us some things, into basically bringing it down to life. Now, in Igbo, there are a couple of people that will tell you that that they dreamt about it. That I was trying to solve this equation and I kind of got it from my dreams. Or somebody will say, I looked into nature, my environment, the inspiration came from something I witnessed back home. These are what our ancestors are trying to bring into reality, are trying to make sure that it makes sense. So the same ancestors that the church, Igbo Christians, and so many other people have constantly demonized and have constantly regarded as people that just existed and died without making any achievement, without leaving an indelible mark, without, making some kind of a technological advancement, because they believe that progress has to be tied to some kind of technology. But they forget that the hoe and the axe that we used to farm and break firewood, those ones are not technological advancements. No, they are not. The herbs that the herbalist will give some of us to drink, and basically, even because there are some herbs. Okay, let me tell you a story. My mom gave birth to my other sister through an operation. Then when it got to my turn, my grandmother went to the village and got these herbs for her to drink. According to her, when she gave birth to me, she didn't know that she had given birth to me, because she said that it was a smooth run for her. It was as if she was going to go and use the toilet. That she thought that it was the nurse that said, hey, and they rushed her to the theater, and I just came out. Then when I came out, that I was very lean. Now within a week after they've given birth to me, I'm like plumpy. Up till now, one name that my people that know me from home call me is Mpompo, because of how big I got within weeks. So she said, imagine if she did not take that herb that my grandmother gave her, it would be a second operation for her. So these are technologies that our ancestors designed by themselves. But each of those advancements that they did not design them in such a way that it is going to have some kind of an adverse effect on the environment. Now, within the Western world, we're hearing about the natural disasters, ozone layer depletion. They're now telling people be mindful of the environment, plant trees. Now, deforestation, they're now trying to avert it, encouraging people to be green, go green. But these are the things our ancestors understood, and they took their time. That's why we dealt more on perishable, inorganic energy. perishable organic energy, not inorganic, organic energy. That's what our ancestors dealt with. Now, these people that we think that they did not know anything, these people, ancestors, they studied and understood the stars. They understood universal frequencies. That's why they had localized airports. That's why they were able to perform Ikwu Ekili, the process of transportation through light. Because originally we believe that our ancestors came into this planet through the Ekili system. So this is like a cosmic knowledge that I think it has been lost to time, or it has been lost to Umuazi, the children of Azi. Now in this age of Aquarius, this age of Anyang, Ogaon, we are hoping that one day somebody would come and perform this Ekili that our ancestors once practiced. So these ancestors, they understood universal frequencies and they steadily tuned into it. That's why occasionally you see them performing cleansing rites that enables them to cleanse their aura, their energy, because they understood what was happening. They don't basically associate themselves with a lot of antisocial behaviors, because they perceive it as it is going to be destructive to their energy. It's going to be destructive to their frequency. And this is why the woman's menstrual cycle comes in. Now, when a woman is menstruating, her frequency is perceived to be negative, because the period blood, it's kind of a life that wasn't used, because of it's not that it's against nature. It happens. But because the woman is supposed to, mate with her man and be able to use that energy, hold it in, but she's removing it out of her body. You understand that within the Igbo system, we perceive life as the highest gift. That's why when you see people that want to basically perform some kind of a terrible, negative, malignant spiritual work, or depending on what they want to use it for, they look for human sacrifice, because they understand what life is, and they know that the human life is higher than the animal's life. So they tilt towards that direction. And because they engage in stuff like that, they also have adverse punishment that is going to await them later on in their life, maybe in this reincarnation or in the next reincarnation. That's the Igbo perception, because imema, it is still waiting for you. If you do good, it is still waiting for you. So then tuning into this universal force, it means that when at some point they see somebody performing or exhibiting some kind of psychotic tendencies, or constantly behaving in a socially unacceptable way, they begin to question that person. You now hear things like because it's also believed that if you don't align with your Agwu, it will become something of a malignant force to you. It will just, instead of it being something that is going to help you to be creative, boost you, it is going to get you involved in antisocial behaviors. Now, it is doing that because it wants to destroy things that has not been aligned to you or assigned to you, because in Igbo we believe in predestination. So once Agwu begins to manifest in this way, our ancestors are saying, Araka Agwu. Now, for some other people, because when Agwu begins to frustrate a person, an individual, they're supposed to perform the rites of Iru Agwu in order to consecrate or institute that Agwu energy. So once Agwu, which is also referred to as the universal mind, is getting information from the source and channeling it straight to the individual, it would have a place where it is going to dilute that energy, or that dilute it first, that frequency, before getting into the individual. Now once it gets to the individual will be able to decipher Agwu's message, understand it properly, and find a way to use them to benefit himself and his community. Maka na omenka na emere onwe ya, mana okpu ụzụ na akpụrụ obodo. So the Agwu energy has to be first of all, it has a place where it is going to first of all get to before coming to you. But once there is a gap, you've not performed the rite of Iru Agwu, it could come at you with its full force and its full energy, and it is going to be something that is going to be adverse to you. So these are the things that ancestors understood, and all these things are done through rituals. In our situation, it is done through Iru Agwu. If it's a situation of Ogbanje Iyowa, there are rituals that they have constituted that they would use to basically reverse engineer, modify the effects of this thing. So when a person says, okay, I'm having issues with my spiritual spouse, I'm having issues with my Ndimiri, my Agwu, all those things, we use rituals to modify them. That's why Ogugo Mmuo. These things are techniques, principles, methodologies that Igbo use to basically fix a certain issue, to basically handle a certain issue. It is done through rituals. Now, when this individual has, maybe the person is now being psychotic, or you're going far. Now, these rituals, Iru Agwu, Agwu, and other aspects of way Igbo used to handle this issue, we call it Iji to Madu or Iji to Agwu, to hold. I've explained the principle of Ijidani. Now this one is Iji to hold down something, to hold down Agwu, to hold down a spiritual spouse, to hold down negative energies. And we do all those things through rituals. If the issue is coming from the aspect of Akohiri, we'll now say Jeke Akohiri, Jeke Efanoma, Jewo. These are rituals which are designed to hold something down. So as creatures of habit, our ancestors encoded every aspect of our existence within nature as a repository for language and information. And they also prescribed rituals, techniques on how to extract these informations. To extract these informations when it is valuable, or when the value is there, and it also can be respected. Now, moreover, they've already given us a clue, and they will tell you, when you're looking for inspiration, look towards nature. When you're looking to basically fix up yourself, exalt yourself, improve your creativity, your mental acumen, look towards nature. Associate yourself with nature. That's the interpretation of that particular adage. Look towards nature. Now, our ancestors also have this proverb, this aphorism. They'll say, Echeba, echebe, echete, bajani. Ozofiocha, onanebe nebe. Echebe, echete, bajani. This is why 90% of rituals that we perform, we need ajani, because the mother earth or sand particles, our ancestors encoded these informations there. When somebody is trying to find his own yowa, and maybe the person is performing the rites of Igbo Agwu and it's becoming some kind of a tedious process, they use through the ajani of that person's father's compound or mother's compound to ascertain these kinds of informations. The same way, when we are looking for anything, we are trying to basically understand something, those that know can be able to basically extract these informations through ajani. Echebe, echete, bajani. Ozofiocha, onane benebe. So whenever when we're in a situation where there is a need to bring up or to basically look at this system and understand what is happening, we move towards ajani. We move towards these rituals and we use them to basically rejuvenate. Now, Agwu does the same thing. because they are one and the same. Now, what Agwu does is that it would come and reveal this information to you. In Nnewi, there is a cultural marital rite called Iru Agwu. The man that performed it recently, according to the SMY, he said that for how many years, even he doesn't even think that his predecessor met somebody that performed this Iru Agwu ceremony. But the man said that he was in his dreams and he's met himself in the presence of some elderly folks, his ancestors obviously. And they told him about this ancestral marital right, Iru Agwu. And when he asked, they told him, yes, Nnewi people, we practice this thing. So this is why Ndi Igbo, the original people, Ndi Igbo, we believe that ancestral knowledge, that Igbo man has nature as his repository. So no matter what I said, that this practice of Ikwa could come back through these ancestral systems that our ancestors have left for us. They did not automatically leave because they understood. They were fearful of Umuazi, the children of wickedness, the children of Azi. Our ancestors were fearful of them. That's why they refused to share some of this information, because of their Azi age. Now, recently, we are seeing some of these practices, rituals, coming about, and we are liking it. So we don't know how far it is going to take us. We don't know how far our spiritual system is going to drive us. And it has nothing to do with materialism, the things that, people condition themselves with. It has nothing to do with it. But I also know that for any meaningful development or progress to actually happen, the people have to first. Because it's when you know that you have food on your table, it's when you know that you can, feed your family, do some certain things, then you can now start thinking towards a certain direction. And again, everybody has their own talent, their own skill, their own akalowa to all those things. So the only thing we can do is to understand, explain, and prepare the next generation for what is to come. So if you like this channel, if you like my explanations, I would like you to subscribe, comment, and well, you can follow me up on all my socials. And also, if you want to understand ordinary, I wrote a book, Chinezumezu. It is my own little effort to basically promote my culture, my spirituality. So if you want this book, Chinezumezu, you can basically leave a comment and I'm going to attend to you. Or you can follow me on Instagram. I'm very active on Instagram. And we'll communicate from there. And if you don't stay in the country, you can always get it from Amazon or Lulu. Just type Chinezumezu and it is going to pop up. So until next time, see you next time.